He was absolutely tearing it up in spring training this year. Has he described what's really been the difference for him this year and the kind of the small sample size we have?
Yeah, I mean, it is small. It was, 7 for 15 in spring training against, pitching some guys who might not be in the majors if and when we have the season. But still, the fact that he really struggled badly the last 4 springs, I think it's noteworthy that he did this well. 3 home runs, 9 walks, only 3 strikeouts. And I think a lot of it is he's got a more aggressive approach, even drawing those walks. He's going to the plate looking to hit, not take. And I think that was important. And, he put on those 25 pounds and it was good pounds, he said, of weight, of muscle. And he looks like that big hulking guy that he was before. And maybe it was just a confidence thing. I mean, we all play like we're amateur psychologists when Chris is struggling. How much of it's mental? How much is physical? And I think a lot of it was mental. And if he feels better about himself being a bigger guy as he's turning 34, then that's fine. I've heard some people say, is it really smart to put on that kind of extra weight when you're at that age? But it's good weight. We're going to do that again with the air quotes. It's good weight. And if it makes him feel better about himself, then go for it. At this point, you just try anything. And, he was diagnosed as having some weakness in his hip that he's been doing some exercises and doing some things to try and combat that and work around that and strengthen that area that I don't think a lot of people know about. And we had talked about it in spring training at one point, back when I was allowed to be within 6 feet of people to do their interviews. And so he talked about that as well. So I think that might also be helping him. But now everybody wants to know, well, will it carry over? Can he sustain it through spring training 2.0 and the season? And nobody knows that.
I think the big thing with him, too, is like every offseason, people expect there to be some sort of drastic change because, his numbers haven't been great for the last couple of years. And so at the beginning of every spring training, how much of an impact do you think the people saying, all right, Chris, what are you doing to get better? Like, how much of that do you think plays into the mental aspect for him?
Yeah, I think it does. And, he was like a cult hero for a while in Baltimore. And all of a sudden, he was like the guy that they were booing from the on-deck circle. So, that has a psychological impact. And people think, well, he's making all this money, he doesn't care. That's so false. Like, this guy really, it's eating at him, and I think it was making him press. I think people pictured him lighting cigars with $100 bills and laughing manically when you go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He's hitting 160. And that wasn't the case at all. So I think that started to wear on, and then you start pressing, and then you're just looking for the season to end at that point, like just anything to get out of there. So, and he's not going to be a guy that's going to make major adjustments. He's not going to change his stance every other at-bat like Cal Ripken was doing for a while. He's not going to go in a pronounced crouch or raise his hands way over, anything like that. He feels like he knows what approach he's most comfortable with and what'll work, but there was some tweaking he needed to do. And I guess putting on 25 pounds and putting a gym in his garage and just hitting the weights hard was one of the things he felt like he needed to do.
The contract with Chris Davis is the other thing that comes up when talking about him. How close was the organization ever in the course of the last couple of years to releasing him and eating the rest of it?
I don't think they've ever come close to that. And really, you can't talk about Chris without the contract, which I'm sure also puts pressure on him. If Chris was not making the $161 million, well, they probably would have released him by now, but they're not going to eat that kind of a contract. And I don't even know if this season is a point where they might reach that certain date where they say, look, we just have to cut ties here. And that's an ownership decision. That's way above the front office. And at this point, Michael Isis keeps saying, look, I'm aware of the contract. He respects the fact that this is how much money is on it. They take it seriously. So they're just trying to find ways to get him right because he's got another 3 years left on it. There's a lot of deferred money as well, but it's, about $69 million, something like that, give or take. So I don't think they're ready to just walk away from that yet, but you see the adjustments they've made. Brandon Hyde sitting him a lot more, batting him 8th in the lineup, things we didn't see Buck doing very much. So they are making those kind of adjustments. They're not married to Chris in the sense that, hey, we have to play this guy every day and bat him 4th no matter what. They will sit him, and especially with an expanded roster now, whether it's 26 or if it ends up being 29 for the first month, whatever, they will certainly sit him if he's not producing.